Hey guys, right before the video begins, I just wanted to say that this is a pretty long video, and I decided not to break it into two parts because I didn't really have a good place to do that, and it would just make more sense as a whole. So it's just gonna be a 16-minute video. Um, I also want to apologize for the audio quality. At some point, I hope to get a mic, but until then, you're gonna have to deal with it. But yeah, that's it, and I hope you enjoy the video. What's up, guys? This is Alpha. So this is like my fifth attempt at this. Um, what I'm gonna be attempting to bring you in this video is a tutorial, I guess, for making a Pokemon team. The reason I want to do this is because I know when I started, I was kind of intimidated by the idea of making a Pokemon team, and I couldn't really do anything until I had at least a semi-decent team. And I kind of had to do it the hard way. I tried many different methods trying to figure out a good team, and and hopefully this can help all you new people new to competitive Pokemon and are unsure how to build a team, and this will hopefully help you with that. Although I do not claim to be the best at team building, but I enjoy doing it, and this is the way I go about it. But like I said, there might be people that have different methods or simply better methods. But okay. So, like I said, this is like my fifth attempt. The last four each have kind of different reasons for why I didn't. I made the first one probably a month ago, and I just haven't gotten to posting it. And then I decided I kind of wanted to make a few changes to how I make a team, and just elaborate on a few things. And then my newer ones were mainly I scrapped them because I took too long, and so I kind of want to try to avoid that. So I'm gonna make this fast. But first, just to cover it, when you've creating a team, the first thing you want to figure out is what tier you want. Now, there's 4 different tiers in 5th gen, and well, there's more than that, but there's 4 main standard tiers. There's Uber, which is like the really good Pokemon. I won't even explain really what they are. It's cause you just have to know because different ones have different Pokemon. Then there's OU, which is overused. UU, which is underused. There's Borderline, which isn't. It's too good for UU, which is underused, but too good. But too bad for overused. And then there's RU, which stands for rarely used. And that's pretty much what they are. Rarely used Pokemon are people that aren't really seen very often in competitive play, and they're just not really fit for it, or they're not fully evolved, so they don't really belong in the higher tiers. So they're here. Underused is, Pokemon that don't really make the cut for overused, but they're still definitely decent Pokemon, and they can hold their own in competitive battle. Then there's Overused, which is like the cream of the non-legendary crop, so to say. And then Uber is pretty much legendary Pokemon that are too good for Overused, or just any Pokemon that's too good for Overused. And Overused tends to be the most, I suppose you can say competitive, although all the other tiers can also be just as competitive. And I like UU most, so I'm going to be making an underused team for this video. So I've already made this team, and I actually did it live on a different version of this, but it took like 25 minutes. So I'm just going to make it again, except hopefully faster, and I can cut to the chase, I suppose. So when you're first starting a team, once you figure out what tier you want, figure out what Pokemon that fits into the tier that you want to base it around. And also to elaborate, I should actually cover this. You could have, for example, underused Pokemon in overused, but you can't have overused Pokemon in underused. So you can have lower tier Pokemon in higher tiers, but you can't have higher tier Pokemon in lower tiers. Just to clarify that. So, so when you're making a team, you're gonna want to base it around like one Pokemon just to begin with, and then the rest of your team kind of forms around that Pokemon. So for this team, I wanted to use a Snorlax because I've never really used one. But instead of like the standard Curse-Lax, this one does no Curse, but instead of like the defensive set, I'm gonna be using a more offensive one. So I put Max Attack. I gave it leftovers. I put Thick Fat, which actually is important. That's the ability I use, and it ups resistance to fire and ice type moves. And I gave it 3 moves and Curse. I gave it Fire Punch to hit Steel types. Body Slam is a good stab. In case you're unfamiliar, stab pretty much means same type attack bonus, which pretty much means that if you use a move of the same type, it deals 50% more damage, So that's Body Slam for me, a Fire Punch to hit Steel types, and then Pursuit to hit any of those. Pesky Ghost types. That always... Or actually Crunch. I just realized you can link Crunch. Why am I giving it Pursuit? I don't know. I guess I didn't really think that through. But yeah, so from here... Well, I also give it some special bulk, because it's so naturally bulky, might as well put some investment in that. So this guy kind of serves he's pretty much a bulky attacker. He's not really a sweeper, but he can definitely he can hit the other person hard, but can also take hits. So he's sort of a special wall in that sense. But at the same time, I know that he's not going to be a good enough special wall. So knowing that I have Thick Fat, which raises, just to repeat, raises resistance to fire and ice, I decided I was going to use a Pokemon that is weak to those. What's that? A grass type. And so I decided to use Roserade for this team. Roserade is a pretty good underused Pokemon. He has pretty good natural special defense, so she's gonna be my special wall. So I put max special defense, a positive special defense nature, which actually turns out to be Calm, and a pretty bulky moveset, which includes spikes to get some of those, what is it called? Hazards out on the field. I don't have Stealth Rocks on this team, but Spikes is always nice, just, it discourages switching out. And I also have Toxic just as kind of like a wall breaker, just in case I can't hurt someone any other way, because Toxic them. And this works pretty well because other than Ice and Fire, she only has one weakness, and that's Psychic, that I can think of right now. But I could be wrong. But yeah, Psychic. And yeah, it's funny, because in the earlier gens, this guy would be 4 times weak to Bug, but in this, it's actually, you should think that's, okay, I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, and two of the things it's weak to is resisted by Snorlax, so they can kind of be a nice, they can kind of work together and be that special wall, I suppose you can say. And I also know that Snorlax is completely weak to fighting, so I'm going to want something to be able to, take that. So I want something that either resists fighting or is immune to it, and things that fit that is Flying, Poison, Psychic, and Ghost. And because I decided I might as well make this guy my spin blocker, which prevents rapid spinning, I can switch into this Ghost type so that someone can't spin away my spikes, and also be my physical wall at the same time. So I decided to go with Confagious, because this guy has pretty monster defense, natural defense, 326, and so I gave it, max defense, I gave it like Will-O-Wisp, Shadow Ball as that stab, because he has pretty good natural special attack as well. Rest as its only form of recovery it can get, and then I also give it Haze, just in case someone tries to set up on it. It saved me a couple times, because I've actually used this team, because like I said, I built it a while ago for a previous video, and I ended up scrapping that one, but I used it in between. So, and if I'm talking fast, I apologize, but I don't want this. Hopefully I can keep this under 12 minutes, but who knows. And if not, I might split it into 2 videos. So from here, I got my defensive core. And these are the 3 Pokemon that will be taking the majority of the hits. They hopefully will bounce off each other pretty well. Roserade to take those special fighting type moves that aim towards Snorlax, and Confagious to take those physical ones. Well, actually, Confagious to take any fighting, because it resists them all, but it's immune to them all. So from this point on, I wanted a lead, but I also needed 2 attackers. Well, 3, yeah, like one physical sweeper, 1 special sweeper. As a rule of thumb, I like to have 1 special and 1 physical sweeper per team, or at least not necessarily a sweeper, but someone can do a lot of damage. But for my lead, I decided I was just it took me kind of a while to decide, but I decided to go for it with, not Heatran, what am I doing? Rotom H. And the reason I picked this guy is because not only is it a fire type and electric, which I don't have yet, but what's nice about every team I like to have a revenge killer, and what a revenge killer is someone who can come in and finish up a job. Like if I turn an enemy's Pokemon at like 5% health, and then I die, I want something to be able to come and outspeed and kill it. via priority or just plain being as fast as hell. So Heatran is that. I mean, why do I keep on saying Heatran? Rotom Heats is that for me. I give him max speed and I give him a Choice Scarf. And so if I want switch advantage at the beginning, I can just immediately Volt Switch out. And I also gave him Thunderbolt Overheat for those two great special stabs. And finally Trick. And Trick allows me to dump my Choice Scarf on to a Pokemon of my choice. And what a Choice Scarf does, if you don't know, it boosts speed by 50%, but it also makes it so you can only use one move. So if there's someone who likes using a lot of different moves, like maybe, or like Wish Protect, if I dump a Choice Scarf on it, it can no longer do that. So that's kind of the logic of that, and that's what my Rotom H is here for. And I was actually coming up with this team just live, but like I said, this is my thought process, best I can repeat. So then, I knew I always like to have a fighting type in my team because I find them pretty useful, and I also wanted priority. So what I decided is that I was going to try to find a fighting type with priority, and I decided on Hariyama. And originally, I looked for Mach Punch, and I found out that Hariyama didn't get it, and I was like, oh, well then I might just not use him. But then I saw I got Fake Out and Guts, so I decided to give him a Flame Orb to burn it, and then Guts to take advantage of that burn, and Fake Out just as priority, and it also serves as during that turn that the other Pokemon flinches, because Fake Out always flinches, I can get my Flame Orb up, and also I just gave him like Close Combat, Rock Slide to hit those flying types, and I use Rock Slide instead of Stone Edge because I always miss Stone Edge, and also finally Payback to hit those ghost types that might try to come in into a close combat. Okay, so finally, I needed one last guy, and I knew I wanted him to be a special sweeper, and I wasn't really sure what kind, and originally, actually when I made this video, my ability team, I used Cresselia, like a subs Calm Mind set, but I decided to use, I actually switched her out, because she's okay, but I have her on a different team. So what I decided instead is to go with Alakazam. And Alakazam is very good as a special sweeper, but I'm using kind of a weird set on this team. I decided that I'm going to go with Expert Belt and Substitute, and then with 3 attacks, which being Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Psychic. And the reason I use this is because if I can get Substitute up without it breaking, I can then proceed to really threaten the other team without that Life Orb damage. Because those 3 attacks do a pretty good job covering a lot of different types. And those who don't, it's not super effective against, I can always hit them with a powerful Psychic, even if it's not powered up by Expert Belt. And this is a really good set. I highly recommend it. To my knowledge, I made it up, but I mean, I'm sure someone else has used it, but I didn't. I kind of came up with the set myself. And also from my team, I actually turned my walls into female, because every once in a while you run into someone who wants to use Attract, so you don't want like all your Pokemon being male. So this is like a quick tip. Okay, so that's taking a while to load. I'm not gonna bother. Oh, not save. Okay, so this is my team. This is my finished team. I'll show you in a second. Sorry, I don't know what's. Okay, 5th Gen UU 7. Yeah, I've made like 7 different teams for this. So, yep, here's my finished team. I'm just going to quickly scroll over each Pokemon to show you the movesets, if in case you care. And yep, so this is the team I made. And you might think it's done right now, but it might not necessarily be done. Like, oh, let me actually do this before I forget. Sorry. It might not actually be done. Like I said earlier, I used to have a Cress on this team. I switched up for an Alakazam. If you get the team right on your first try, then either you're not thinking of enough improvements, or you're just a better team builder than me. But what I like doing is once I create just, kind of a rough sketch of my team, I then go online and I start testing it and I start making adjustments, and that's perfectly fine, and it's a positive thing. So always be adjusting your your team to maybe take, an attack. Like maybe if your team's incredibly weak to one type of move, put someone in there that resists it. And your team should work together. They shouldn't be like separate entities. For example, like if you're on a soccer team, your coach always encourages passing, working as a team. Same thing for Pokemon, and that's a really important thing while playing. But yeah, I think I've taken up enough of your time. If you have any questions about making a team, leave them in the comments. I will try to answer as best as I can. Or try to find out the answer if I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed. And also, one last thing, if you want to figure out movesets for Pokemon, you can always go, let me just go quick, to Smogon. Well, I'm on Smogon right now. But go to Smogon.com. And then let's say I wanted to find a moveset for Alakazam. I don't usually do this because I like making my own sets. But you can if you want, especially if you're new. It's definitely understandable. So this says Diamond Pearl, but it's pretty similar to now, but whatever. I'm just going to click on this just to go show you an example. Like this, it gives you a set and explains it. It's pretty nice. Okay, well I guess that is it, but life form instead of extra belt, whatever. I didn't actually see this before, but okay. So, there's also black and white right here, but it doesn't show you a moveset. But yeah, if you're ever curious about movesets, go to this site. But I hope this isn't too long. I always lose track of the time because I ramble on too much. If it's too long, it'll be 2 episodes. If not, it'll be 1 episode. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and rate if you liked it. And yep, that's it. So see you guys later. Bye.